Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MSU Soccer Park and today's USL match. Please raise your scarves and welcome your defending USL champion New York Red Bulls 2 to the pitch for today's match.
From the campus of beautiful Montclair State University in Northeast New Jersey, welcome to New York Red Bulls 2 Soccer. This afternoon, the New York Red Bulls 2 host the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in a very, very important United Soccer League match. And good late afternoon, Bob Gallerstein with Chris Dyer, the New York Red Bulls 2 and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds both on just the outside of the Eastern Conference playoffs, Chris. And you have a situation where Pittsburgh is going to look at this fella right here, Corey Herzog, for some big goals, launch them into the playoffs.
Yeah, former New York Red Bulls player, tremendous striker. And on the flip side, you have another tremendous attacking player here in the USL level, Junior Flemings, who's had probably, I think, a better season this year than last year when he was among the best attacking players in the league.
For the presentation of the national anthem.
And right now, the national anthem before what's going to be a very large crowd here at Montclair State University.
Yeah, Pittsburgh going with a bit of a formation change here, 4-1-4-1. It's an opportunity for them to keep a little bit more possession in terms of their alignment. And for the New York Red Bulls too, it's going to be a 4-2-3-1 in attacking formations, much more of a 4-3-3. Stefano Bonomo has been on an absolute tear recently for Red Bulls too.
Stefano Bonomo picking up the slack where Brandon Allen, when he was loaned to Minnesota, has just done a terrific job. We'll have the opening kick in just a minute. Pittsburgh Riverhounds at New York Red Bulls 2 here at Montclair State University in a crucial game for an Eastern Conference USL playoff berth.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars, innovative technology, and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
Ready to go. Big-time atmosphere here at Red Bull Arena. Wide shot saved by Robles. Bradley Wright-Phillips has scored! The ultimate scoring machine. And New York is on fire. Hashtag New York is red. And who would argue with them?
We are expecting what is going to be a record crowd here at Montclair State University for this Pittsburgh Riverhounds New York Red Bulls 2 match. This is the third year of New York Red Bulls 2. This is the first year at Montclair State University. For the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, a very, very big name in USL circles, growing soccer coach Dave Brandt controlling the Riverhounds.
Yeah, Dave Brandt has done a good job here, really taking over a team and being able to reshape it. Perhaps not quite the personnel that he necessarily wants, but much like John Wolynek, sometimes you have to deal with the cards that have been dealt. And Red Bulls, too, losing a number of established pieces from last year's team that won the league title, that won the USL Cup as well, having to do some serious work there in terms of rebuilding. Both teams, I think, in a year where they needed to do some retooling, Bob, but you can begin to see the pieces come together through the stretch run for both Pittsburgh and New York Red Bulls too.
Yeah, I thought last year John Wolynek was perhaps the unsung hero of the entire Red Bulls organization. Certainly one of the best in not only cultivating a culture of winning, which the organization needs. Came close this year with the U.S. Open Cup, has come close a couple of other times in the Open Cup, but it has not happened. But it did happen last year with New York Red Bulls too. The officials for today's game, the referee is Jonathan Belisny. The assistant referees are Jovalyn Bori and Victor Vasquez. The fourth official is Carlos Gonzalez Escobar. And the Red Bulls will control off the opening kick.
Beautiful day here for soccer at Montclair State University. Double header here as well. The men's soccer team will be playing at 7 p.m.
You know, we have the situation. This is the last home game of the year for New York Red Bulls. A couple road games after this. They are going to be at Tampa, at Orlando, and also at Rochester, so 3 road games. And a lot of seeds have been planted this year for this team as Red Bull looks to get the press going right here. And so far, it's so good. It's going to be a slowly germinating seed, but something that's going to be, they're looking for a long-term growth here.
Long-term growth, and you talk about the facilities as well that this team's going to be having, building out the stands more behind the other goal, locker room as well, and other infrastructure to be able to get this in place. Listen, Red Bull Arena, I would say, is probably one of the best facilities, if not the best facility in the country to watch soccer. The U.S. national team's played a number of games there.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly MLS, it has one of the best atmospheres in the league. But for the USL level, the past 2 years may not have necessarily been ideal. I think this is a more intimate atmosphere. It's good for the university. And I think the players have responded now to the intimacy and the confines that is this place.
Well, Pittsburgh was looking for Romeo Parks on the break. Good defense there by the Red Bulls. Hassan and Dahman there. Throwing it in right now for the Red Bulls, David Najem. Gets it over for Andrew Tenari, who has made great progress as a midfielder this year. Looking inside, Vincent Bezecourt, maybe the king of those corner kicks. And Bezecourt, who has seen now some action with the first team this year and looked fairly good in the few minutes that he's had.
Bezecourt very comfortable on the ball, smooth, works well, runs off the ball, and brings a tremendous work ethic. I have the opportunity to see Bezecourt play and train frequently on a daily basis, and you could see that he was somebody who, at the USL level, was just head and shoulders above a number of the competition that he was playing against, and looked all too comfortable at the MLS level in training sessions with Jesse Marsh.
Well, I just love the way he does his corner kicks. How many times this year, more than a handful of times, Red Bulls have either gotten a goal or very close to a goal on a corner kick by Vincent Bezecourt, number 88, who right now is right at the bottom of your picture. And the ball snared by the keeper for Pittsburgh, Matt Perella.
Perella, his 6th start of the year, has settled in nicely there in the back line. A little bit of some goalkeeper controversy there in Pittsburgh, but Perella over the past few games has really kind of settled and established himself as the number 1 right now for Dave Brandt.
Yeah, Pittsburgh coming off a very disappointing game against Bethlehem, and they're looking to rebound off of that. Both the Red Bulls and Red Bull 2 and Pittsburgh Riverhounds are right on the outside of the playoffs. Red Bulls win both at least 2 of their 3 remaining games. They could control their own destiny.
And for Pittsburgh, after you come off in August where they got 9 points from 4 matches, undefeated, 3-0-1 in those 4 matches, Bob, all of a sudden now in September, 0-2-2, slipping now to 11th place in the Eastern Conference, by no means out of it. But I think this is a Pittsburgh team, when you watched how they were playing May, June, July, and then certainly August, is a bit more established than what they've shown over the past 3 or 4 weeks.
The jam inside, Junior Flemings. And the kick taken by Tenari goes wide. Racing after it is Florian Velo. And Red Bulls 2 with a throw-in. And one player who we haven't seen much of late is Zico Lewis, who saw a lot more minutes early on in the season than he has of late. And perhaps we'll see Zico as a late second half sub. But he's a first-round draft pick and has a lot of upside. Zico Lewis.
Yeah, really like his speed, his ability to stretch things, but perhaps on some of the tactical work, some of the nuancing of the game, still has some work that he needs to do in catching up. A lot of the physical tools, Bob, you like to see from a wide player in terms of his speed, his pace, but overall needs perhaps to catch up in a couple areas.
Well, here's Bezecourt on the corner. Let's see what happens here. Junior Fleming's just outside the box. Probably float it right in. Let's see if they can get a header right in there. Instead, knocked out on a header by Joe Greenspan, defender for the Riverhounds.
And Greenspan, a little bit of an emergency player here for the Riverhounds, coming in on a one-game loan from Minnesota United in the MLS.
Speaking of Minnesota United, that's who right now is Brandon Allen on loan. And we wish Brandon all the best. Still technically he's still under contract to Red Bulls. However, no room at forward for Red Bull. Let's see what they do here. And forward, and it's smothered by the Riverhounds' Perella. Rebels' first best chance so far this game.
And some good individual work down there, down the flank from Florian Velo, who can be so dangerous in those 1v1 opportunities, able to create, separate, get a little bit of space. And then Bonomo was there, making the run towards the near post. Perella doing well there to snag that cross.
All right, let's see what the Rebels can do now to reset the press. Long feed pass, double team, deflected, regained by Red Bull 2. Looking left side. Racing after it is Tenari. Snared by the Riverhounds. Nice ball to clear it out of danger. Here's Metzger for Red Bulls 2.
Good little touch there from Endom just to be able to free it up and send the ball to Metzger. Moving the ball quickly, one touching. So important for a center back in this Red Bulls 2 system. And Endom, of course, one of the players who is on loan from the Red Bulls MLS side, now with the USL program.
He has tremendous upside. Red Bulls are really looking for an opportunity for him maybe next year sometime to see some first-team action.
Yeah, he was a player I saw 2 years ago in spring training going.
Over for Bonomo. Big save made by Perella.
Tremendous work there from the goalkeeper, but Bonomo being sprung into the 18, taking a touch right here, perhaps one touch too many, sizing up Perella, doing well. A lot of goalkeepers, Bob, are going to go down a little bit too fast. Perella held his ground, wasn't going to be rounded on that one, and a big save, or else we're talking about an early 1-0 lead for New York.
And you saw the frustration on Bonomo, the body language after he missed that. When you are a goal scorer, you have to make those conversions. Loose in midfield, Riverhounds in control. Romeo Parks, we'll be saying his name a lot this afternoon. That's a foul on the Riverhounds, and Red Bulls 2 will gain possession.
And just a little bit of a tug here from number 5 Soto on Junior Flemings. A little bit of a tactical foul, nothing much in. If he doesn't do that, Flemings is there with a head of steam.
I think maybe that he enhanced it a little bit, but
soccer players never enhance the fouls, Bob.
All's fair in love and football, of course. Hassan Ndam, a bright young star with Cameroon.
And I was talking about Ndam just a few moments ago. Had the opportunity to see him 2 years ago in preseason training with the Red Bulls. He went to Montverde High School, famous program for all their athletics, and he stood out even then as a 17-year-old.
Junior Fleming's looking for Bezecourt in front, and Perella is able to get both hands on the ball to clear it out of danger, which he does with a heavy boot looking downfield for Corey Herzog, the former Red Bull, leading scorer for the Riverhounds. Herzog looking in the middle, intended for Kenroy Howell. Metzger there for Red Bulls 2. And the possession arrow, possession flag for Pittsburgh. Huge crowd here at Montclair State University. This is a record crowd watching these Red Bulls 2. The Baby Bulls lunging for a playoff berth here. Now Evan Laurel try to boot it downfield, or maybe he'll pass it up to Adam. Let's see.
Really like the development of Evan Laurel when you see not only what he's been able to do on the field, just being able to work, refining his technique, but also physically, where he's been coming in, being able to reshape his body, really has become a very, very solid goalkeeper at this level.
Yeah, the whole organization is so deep in goal. When you have a keeper on the first team who could be a starter for maybe a third or half of the MLS teams, in Ryan Mera, who led Red Bulls 2 to the USL Championship last year. And let's see what Red Bulls 2 can do right now. On the left side, it's Najem. Knocked aside. Najem looks to get control, does with the chest. Over for Tenari. Metzger. Noah Powder in there. Headed out of danger temporarily. Can Najem get to it? Pittsburgh does. Off Najem's foot, it'll be a Riverhounds throw-in. Very
important intervention there from Najem. Andrew Tenari, one of the holding midfielders, plays a bit of a number 6 here for Red Bulls too. Kind of a destroyer there right in front of the back four. Was caught upfield. If that ball goes up there, the defense in the back line might have been stretched up. Najem with a very important intervention.
One thing I noticed, Chris, about Najem this year is the season has progressed. He's had a more muscular presence on the field, and I think it's that he has more ball awareness. His play away from the ball, where it's anticipated to go, has been a lot better.
And keep in mind also, he was a central midfielder playing at Columbia in the Ivy League, one of the top attacking midfielders in the conference. Also played out wide when he first got here with the USL a year ago, then transitioned to a right back. So he's still learning how to use his body positioning-wise and some of the tactical things required from an outside back here in the Red Bull system.
Greenspan looking for the home run pass to Corey Herzog. A little too far, so we're going to get a goal kick for Evan Laurel, number 24 for the New York Red Bulls 2 from South River, New Jersey. Red Bulls 2 want to establish the press, keep the ball down there. Bezecourt looking for Junior Flemings. One-on-one, pass in front, deflected. And out of danger. So you have these key plays made by Pittsburgh to clear the ball out, but you're not getting any sustained offense so far from the Riverhounds. So the Red Bulls 2 so far playing their game. And we spoke before the game with Dave Branham. One of the things he said about going with the 4-1-4-1 was, yeah, he wants to shake things up because the Riverhounds haven't played well last few games, but he did it also with the Red Bulls 2 in mind.
And Brand is hoping for a little bit more possession. This has been a Pittsburgh team a little bit more direct over the past few months than perhaps he would like. Not quite sure if he has the personnel to be able to play the possession style he wants to play, but a 4-1-4-1. You're adding another central midfielder in there, which is good against the Red Bulls 2 formation, but certainly it just helps them in terms of overall being able to maintain the ball, especially on the road. An artificial surface here can be a little bit tricky for teams coming in.
Taylor Washington's long pass for Kevin Kerr for Pittsburgh did not connect, and there for the Red Bulls, looking downfield for Florian Velo. Not too far for the native of Monaco, France. Formerly played for AS Monaco 2.
Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com.
Riverhounds on the throw-in. Red Bulls 2 with the possession. This is Flemings. Junior Stubbles regains, and possession will go to the Riverhounds. We want to let you know that you should stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. You can tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts Mondays, 9 p.m. on SiriusXM FC Channel 85. Also, don't forget SiriusXM FC will air the USL Game of the Week. Please check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. And a big game here could qualify for Game of the Week. These two teams battling for a position in the Eastern Conference playoffs. And you'd have to think that the playoff pedigree that was established here last year is going to help Red Bulls too.
Playoff pedigree, certainly, Bob, but also a team that is coming around, rounding into form, has been very good, even in last week's 4-2 loss at Cincinnati. Crowd over 30,000, hostile atmosphere. Red Bulls 2 was the better team on the field in that match. Unlucky not to come away with something.
The Gem will chase it down. There was a week off before they went out to Cincinnati. Did that have any effect? Because the Red Bulls 2 were rolling before that.
Well, I think that's just a difficult place to play. I also think it's a Cincinnati team that, knowing full well what the senior team did in the Open Cup semifinals, perhaps that was a little bit more of an emotionally charged team.
Well, Cincinnati came in a few days after they lost to the first team and then lost to Red Bulls 2. And Red Bulls 2 looking for the goal here. Big save, missing. Junior Flemings, who was deflected away. Big save by Perella.
Yeah, very impressive start now for Perella in the opening 15, 16 minutes of this match, standing tall several times.
Red Bulls 2 with a sustained press here. Player is down. Is that Bezecourt?
It is Bezecourt.
And gets up. He looks to be okay. Going 1-on-2. Is below. Tries it again. Metzger. Below will send it out. Looking inside. Bezecourt boots it. Knocked aside. He might have been looking for Junior Flemings in front.
It's absolutely been a little bit of a tilted field right now for Red Bulls 2 here at MSU Soccer Park. But let's talk about that play there from the goalkeeper, Matt Perella. This is a guy who I think has been absolutely under fire, perhaps didn't anticipate this, but doing so well to parry this away. It's a difficult play from a goalkeeper, not to charge out, guarding the near post, but then doing a good job pushing it out away out of danger.
Another Bezecourt specialty. A corner kick. It's the Red Bulls 2 third corner, a fourth corner, and we'll get the throw in here.
I'll tell you what, Bob, I think you may have jinxed Bezecourt on some of those corner kick pieces.
I'm sure I'll be hearing from Vincent after the game on that one. Feeding it in the box, looking for a Bonomo, and this will end up shooting up. They're giving it a corner. It ended up deflecting off a Pittsburgh Riverhound. Quickly knocking it in. Going for the short pass. Now top, Metzger, one touch, inside. And Riverhounds clear it out of danger, looking for the home run to Herzog. And Herzog with frustration. He would have had a clear breakaway on Evan Lauro if he had gotten possession of the ball. I believe that would have been onside.
Yeah, Herzog had the center back split there, but the ball just a little bit heavy of a touch. Keep in mind, this is an artificial surface here at MSU Soccer Park. The ball is going to roll just a little bit more.
We know what they have at the Red Bull training facility, which is a second to none, bar none in the United States. I think there are 3 grass fields, and you do have 1 artificial turf.
And Red Bulls 2 primarily will train on the grass field as much as possible, but they do have that artificial surface for, day before the match, just to get used to it. The ball definitely does roll a little bit differently.
So many huge international teams, either national teams or huge club teams, training at the Red Bulls facility in East Hanover, New Jersey.
We saw Barcelona here this past summer, Ireland, Mexico, Colombia, a number of national teams have rolled through over the past couple years. It's a great facility. Atlanta United probably has set the bar right now. Their facility is gaudy and audacious, but certainly I think Red Bulls 2 was the one that kind of set the standard there.
And Perella making the save, and do it again. I remember there was 2-3 years ago, Colombia national team came in and they had a closed-door game with the Red Bulls first team, ended up 1-1. And Red Bulls won. Supposedly the first team handled itself very well against one of the top international teams in the world. And right now, Junior Flemings, one of the top players in the United Soccer League. We'll send it back as Red Bulls 2 look to set it up. Metzger.
Really, really like Junior Flemings, showing a lot on the ball. And he's a player who, I think has more than proven himself at this level. This past preseason was going to be invited in for a look from the senior team, had an injury that kept him out. I think that slowed him down just a little bit with fitness. But when you look at what he's done over the past month and a half, there's no doubt in my mind Junior Flemings is an MLS level player. Now, Bob, does he fit on the Red Bulls team? Is he a winger? Is he a false 9? Where does he exactly play? Not quite sure where the fit is.
Come on, Coach Dyer. I thought you should know that.
But on an MLS team somewhere, I'm convinced Junior Flemings can play. I think he has the pedigree to do it on the international level as well.
Well, Kenroy Howe, who looks like he could get a shot at an MLS team. For Kevin Kerr. This is Taylor Washington. Pittsburgh looking to sustain some offense right now. We're in the 19th minute, no score. Red Bulls 2, Pittsburgh Riverhounds from Montclair State University. And the Gem will head it back to Lauro.
Yeah, opening 20 minutes, Bob. We haven't heard too much of Kevin Kerr. He's an important player. He's going to tuck in centrally from time to time. He's going to float out wide as well into a left leading position. He's been a rock steady for this Pittsburgh Riverhounds team. You talk about somebody leads the team in minutes this year. He's been steady, very high passing completion percentage as well. All-time 129 appearances for Pittsburgh. 4th overall. He's somebody who can be counted on. He's steady. He's dependable. Right now, having a hard time finding him in this match. He's floating a little bit out wide right now in this formation. Hasn't been isolated too much.
Has 3 goals, 5 assists so far in the 29 games. Red Bulls 2 with a boot. And you can see the frustration on Florian Velo. He wanted to get that ball down a little bit.
Very quick movement here on and off the ball to find Velo from about 23, 24 yards out. Just leaned back a little bit on the shot. Give him that other opportunity. Chances are you're finding in the back of the net. But he had time, space, really liked his movement off the ball to open him up. And I spoke with Coach John Walenek this week about Velo, and he said it was a rougher start to the year. He was somebody who had some frustrations. If Florian Velo gets in a bad run of form, he beats himself up more than the coaching staff does. And now he's been in a good run recently the past few weeks. And John Walenek says, I can tell because he's smiling on the practice field.
Always a good sign. And it's one thing to be hard on yourself. You can be too hard on yourself. And that's another thing that John Walenek is so good at when you're dealing with young players. Get them learn to think, and then when not to think, just use your reflexes. Use your innate ability and let that take over.
And I think that's one thing that John Walenek does a good job. Another thing I think Dave Brandt does a good job of. They've both seen it, they've experienced it, they played in this country. John Walenek at the MLS level, couple caps with the U.S. national team. But when you're dealing with young players, and especially, Bob, when you're in a system where you're a feeder team like Red Bulls 2 is, looking to develop players for the MLS level to make that transition from the USL, you can't be too hard on them. You also got to push them as well.
Red Bulls looking for the break here below, and it's kicked aside. Regained by Najem. Finds Tenari. If you're new to Red Bulls, John Walenek in 2008, when the Red Bulls had that run as a Western Conference representative, the way the playoffs were set it then, Walenek got the Red Bulls' lone goal in the MLS final loss to Columbus, 3-1. Tenari. Teams battle in midfield. Hey, soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. And Red Bulls 2 soccer, almost getting a goal. Ball is snared by Perella.
Not that anyone cares, Bob, but my new pair of footwear at the gym, Nikes.
I will check that out next time.
We do go to the same gym together. You've never offered to spot me, though.
You never asked?
I'm progressing from the 6 to 8 pound
I'm
curls.
I'm not in your class when it comes to the weightlifting, so can't carry your weights. So it's
oh, boom, boom.
Not that it's not blustery out here today, and certainly not warm. Two weeks ago, we were having incredible humidity. It was last week too, but this is not a water break out there. It looks like they might be doing one right here, 23rd minute. Red Bulls 2 clearly with the better of play so far today. By the way, last home game here for this season, for the regular season, we have the biggest crowd this year, definitely over 1,000. And when you look at some of the other USL, more established USL teams, Sacramento, we mentioned Cincinnati with the great crowds there, and certainly your bigger fish in a smaller pond with Cincinnati and certainly with Sacramento. A little over 1,000 doesn't seem like much, but what this grew from, which was virtually nothing, solid first year for Red Bulls 2. Capacity 3,500. Attendance is going to be a little over 1,000 today. and expanding it to probably about 4,500 by next year.
And the integration in the community. We talk about Montclair, New Jersey, and for those who are watching who aren't from the area, it's been a great soccer community through and through. Clifton nearby is the home of Matt Miazga, now on the U.S. national team. So many players. Danny Zatella has come through. Giuseppe Rossi is a Clifton native as well. I mean, you put that talent on one field, that alone is good. The Najim brothers, so many others have come through the Clifton, New Jersey pipeline, the Clifton Stallions. It's really been an impressive first year here right in that neighborhood.
Kevin Kerr was double teamed. Red Bulls get possession, and Junior Flemings with a deflected kick went off the top of the net. And we're going to have Mr. Bezecourt do one of his specialties on the corner. I don't believe the Riverhounds have had one set piece so far this game, and this is Red Bull 2's, I believe, their 5th or 6th. The left-footed Bezecourt. And it goes in, a goal for Red Bulls 2. It might have been Bonomo in front. It comes in the 25th minute.
Well, what a beautiful, though, free kick coming in from Bezecourt. That placement there right on the edge of the 6-yard box. Not sure if it took a little bit of a deflection, but Stefano Bonomo was right there to put it away. Savvy, goal scorer's finish by Bonomo, who's been tremendous this year for Red Bulls too. In particular, Bob, the past month and a half.
Well, there's another one of those corner kick specialties by Vincent Bezecourt.
Right there, Bonomo, just to nod it away. The good positioning, but the understanding. And Bezecourt, the placement of that ball. We're going to be talking about Bonomo getting again on the scorer sheet. But, Bob, just the understanding of Bezecourt knowing, feeding that ball.
I tell you, and this is said with all due respect to the first team's captain, Sasha Klesham, and Vincent Bezecourt might be the best in the organization at the corner kicks. Absolute terrific placement. It's almost an instant replay for Vincent Bezecourt to Stefano Bonomo. And a big goal for Red Bulls, too, if they can win this game, and depending upon what else happens this weekend in USL, Red Bulls still be back in the top 8.
3 points here, Bob, and you'd feel that Red Bulls, too, can control their own destiny. They have a couple matches now on the road, but certainly with a couple games in hand, you feel that they could perhaps even potentially challenge for a top 4 spot in the Eastern Conference.
Which would be something. I'd say when they're in Tampa is the next game. They're at the Red Bulls tour at Tampa. And when Tampa came in here 2-3 weeks ago, it was near domination by Red Bulls, too, on a team with Joe Cole, big names, and a very good team. Looking in front for Velo, it's cleared out of danger by Joe Greenspan, who has been ubiquitous in that for the defenders for the Riverhounds. But the press asserting its dominance for Red Bulls 2. More confidence after that set-piece goal. And just as I say that, Riverhounds look to clear. They get the flag.
Important intervention there from Junior Flemings. If he doesn't make that tackle, the Riverhounds are on the counter.
And they may get a break here. Big defensive play on the side by Red Bulls 2 as Evan Loro gets possession of the ball on the far side.
And Hassan Endom, one of those players, the 18-year-old out of Mount Verde Academy, one of the best soccer programs in the country. Been with the Red Bulls now preseason 2 years ago, finished up his senior year, and now then joining the team this year. A player with a very bright future. Has been on the bench a number of times for the MLS side, Bob, and somebody who, if the draw had been a little bit different in the U.S. Open Cup, I think could have gotten his first team debut sometime in May.
Agreed.
Has some work he has to do in terms of positioning, his touch, his understanding, his delivery of the ball. You talk about the physical tools and the attributes, however, he has exactly what you want to see.
He made a terrific play there going one-on-one. Nice touch pass. Bezecourt into the box. And that goes just wide.
Perhaps a little bit too cute there from Vincent Bezecourt. Would have been better to play a nice hard ball across the 6-yard box. But you like, again, Red Bulls 2 are finding Vincent Bezecourt out wide in 1v1 situations. Bezecourt, when he's in those positions, is able to deliver a good solid ball more times than not.
Well, let's see what happens. You want health for the first team, but training camp next year, Bezecourt is definitely going to be pushing for a position on the first team and for some minutes. because he has earned it.
I think Bezecourt is. I think Dan Metzger this year has shown some very good things as well. Andrew Tanari, somebody who I thought was maybe going to be a bit of an afterthought in preseason, has stepped up and grown each and every game.
And Dom plays it safe, sends it back to Evan Lauro. Racing in for Pittsburgh was Kevin Kerr. The header controlled by Pittsburgh. Metzger intercepts, sends it back. Looking for Jordan Scarlett. And upfield comes Najem. Below on his right, crisscross. Below sends it over for Bezecourt. Looking in the box for Najem. Or excuse me, Below. And right at the top of the box, can Bonomo get possession going 1-on-2? Riverhounds clear it out of danger. They may be able to break here. Racing downfield is Kenroy Howell, tripped up. And what a beautiful tackle by who else? Hassan Ndam.
Very important intervention there from Hassan Ndam. Corey Herzog was going down that left channel there. If Howell picked up his head, played a square ball across, Corey Herzog was going to be in on 1v1 on Evan Lauro.
Oh, Florian Velo was looking for his cutting teammate on the left there.
Well, I really like that intervention, and it would have been very easy for Ndam early on to have gone in on that challenge. But here he stands his ground, waits, drives him out wide, makes the tackle, clean delivery, and then you like the distribution of the ball, kept it simple and tidy.
Now, sometimes the distribution of the ball after you make a successful sliding tackle like that is an underrated part of the game. You got the ball back, do something with it. And it shows a lot of poise, something that they need from Hassan. 31st minute, and the Red Bulls in control, 1-0. Bonomo on a set piece from who else? Vincent Bezecourt. That came in the 25th minute. Hey, fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays 9 p.m. on SiriusXM FC 85. Also, don't forget SiriusXM FC will air the USL Game of the Week. Please check uslsoccer.com for dates and times.
Nice little buzz here around MSU Soccer Park. They were expecting a crowd north of 1,000, largest ever since the move here, and definitely enjoying some good soccer right now from Red Bulls too.
And the whole thing is there, you want to market, the Red Bulls' goal is to market this like minor league baseball, and there are a lot of big plans for next year. Header goes above the net. This should be a goal kick for.
Well, you talk about marketing, you talk about the communications. I think the biggest hire for Red Bulls 2 so far this year, Willie Whitelaw, who's the director of communications for Red Bulls 2, treating this like an MLS program, really building on a good foundation in place. Been absolutely fantastic for Red Bulls 2.
As well you should, and you see some of the major organizations that are involved in USL and own their teams. You just look at how Toronto controls its Red Bull, its USL team. Toronto FC 2, so you have a situation where they kind of raise the bar for everybody. We're owned by Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. It's a nice feather in the league's cap. USL has grown so much, by the way, in the last 365 days. So much more MLS investment. So by default, it had to, and indeed it has followed through with a lot of plans for this offseason heading into 2018. Riverhounds will retain possession.
And Bob, it sounds like that goal that we were talking about going to Stefano Bonomo, it's probably going to be, undergoing review right now, may end up going as an own goal.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. It's possible. Bottom line
sure,
is still
you throw
the
me
same.
under the bus now, Bob. after I'm crediting Stefano Bonomo for another goal.
I mentioned his name first, but okay. For Pittsburgh, it's Romeo Parks. 3 goals, 3 assists this year. Uncommon set piece so far this game for the Riverhounds. Right into the box. It's loose. And Red Bulls 2 control. Looking for the home run, and right there, Johnny on the spot for Pittsburgh.
And Red Bulls 2 now in their counter press right now, really trying to pressure the ball movement for Pittsburgh. making it difficult for them to break out of their own half.
Taylor Washington for Romeo Parks. Now this is Tenari. Double team, knocked out of danger temporarily. This will be a Red Bulls 2 throw-in. Nice play by Taylor Washington of the Riverhounds. Now to Jem. And we're getting word from the field that it is officially an own goal.
And Rob Chesney, Montclair State University athletic director here, assistant coach on the men's team, stopping in the press box to say hi, shake hands, and greet people, kiss babies.
With one of the great alums of Montclair State University, Chris Dyer.
Yeah. God help us all.
Why don't they retire your number?
You had to play first in order to have a retired number.
The Gem for Red Bulls 2.
They retired my spot on the bench. Honorary sunflower seed.
Below, and this should be a corner. It is going to be a corner for Red Bulls 2. Now this is the same corner where Bezecourt had the kick in that led to an own goal, not scored by Stefano Bonomo. And in the 35th minute, let's see if Red Bulls 2 can increase the lead. Playing it safe for Tenari. Back to Bezecourt. Running in, booting it, and knocked down in front. And down a Gem over in the netting behind the goal.
I think that was 1 point in Australian rules football, Bob.
From around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts.
Well, they've had so many other sports at Red Bull Arena. Maybe we'll have one of those at Red Bull Arena.
Also, don't forget SiriusXM FC.
So let's see if we can get to the bottom of this here, the own goal situation.
Very close. Well, sometimes referee will ask the player, did you touch it?
That may have come off
you.
Adewole there. I'm not exactly sure who that deflected off of. Junior Flemings was there in the picture to contest it, but Nomo as well.
For a team battling for a playoff berth, all they're concerned is that the ball goes in the net. This is Flemings going one-on-one with Toby Adewale. And Riverhounds will control. Rebels are getting most of the one-on-one battles here also.
And the second balls, the 50-50 balls. Right now, this formation change, Pittsburgh just seems a little hesitant where they're supposed to be. Had a couple half chances over the past few minutes, perhaps settled into this formation and into this road match. But right now, they've had a lot of difficulty in their build-up, been very direct, and playing very much in the hands of Red Bulls too, that high pressing and counter pressing style.
Well, they decided to send it back to Perella, who gets the header, but in the Gem. Looking for Bonomo, intercepted by the Riverhounds. And for Pittsburgh, it's Abuccio Benoit. Deflected off the leg of Tenari. Snared by Noah Powder, and he sends it right back to Evan Laurel. And Noah racing ahead as Najem with that speed. To Tenari. These two feed off each other nicely.
Well, the Columbia connection certainly have a certain understanding and style of play, but
Metzger from outside, and it goes above net. Well, no slouch in the brains department, those two.
Well, my wife would love to hear that, the Columbia grad that she is. Really like
now,
the
now we know who wins most of these cerebral discussions between you two.
It's definitely not a battle of the wits here, Bubba. Like the fact that Red Bulls 2, shooting from outside the box, stretching things, Pittsburgh's back line having to step up, may be able to find opportunities here as the half wears on, to be able to play those balls behind the back four for Pittsburgh. And Corey Herzog now floating a little bit out wide. I think they're hoping to find him in those 1v1 situations where perhaps he can use his speed, very quick touches to be able to free him up, because right now service and delivery in to the team's leading goal scorer has been scant. And
the Gem is also almost shadowing him. Not a very good kick right there by Perella. Metzger in control. And he sends it back to Jordan Scarlett. Noah Powder. Long pass. Bonomo cannot control. Headed down by Obinwa. Can Bezecourt retain control? Does. Plays it safe, sends it back to Laurel. Below. Nice footwork. Riverhounds steal the ball, goes back to Najem. And that's going to be Pittsburgh control.
A little bit of a handball right there from the gym as he was trying to control and corral a little bit of a tricky ball.
For the Riverhounds, it's Washington. Below watching him. And he'll send it back. Connor Maloney on the far side. This is Washington. Pittsburgh looking to sustain possession here. They haven't done much of that this game. Riverhounds trailing 1-0. Quick throw in. Red Bulls looking for Velo, too far. Washington will throw it in.
And now we've seen over the past couple of minutes Velo coming over here on the right side. Junior Fleming on the left, where maybe the speed can just counter just a little bit in terms of the buildup. Most of Red Bull's attacks have come down that left channel with Velo.
They ruled the ball went out of bounds, so it'll be a Red Bull 2 throw-in. Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. Hassan Adam, home run pass, way too far for Bonomo. Headed by the Riverhounds' Joe Greenspan. Now below, Red Bulls 2. Tenari. Najem. And Velo gets the ball back, looking inside. One touch, Tenari. Can he retain control? He does, beautifully. Inside it goes. Look at this one-touch passing. And that's going to be, I'm going to call it against Red Bulls 2. I was thinking it'd be a free kick for Red Bulls 2, but instead it'll be Riverhounds possession. And Matt Perella picks up the ball. The lone goal of the game we thought was credited to Bonomo in the 25th minute. Instead, it is an own goal that is credited to the Red Bulls, but still a great corner kick by Vincent Bezecourt.
And if it wasn't for an outstanding first half from Matt Perella in goal for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, in all likelihood we could be talking about 2-3-0 scoreline right now.
Easily. Well, so far so good for Red Bulls 2, and for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, both teams battling for a playoff spot. Need more possession. That's something that Dave Brandt told us in the pregame. And that'll be a foul on the Riverhounds. Gabi Abuchi, Agbosamode. Gali Agbosamode.
Tremendous player as well. Someone who already has one appearance with the United States national team going back a few years ago, playing overseas, playing with the youth national teams, can play outside back, center back as well. Good recovery speed. Interesting player here at the USL level, given the physicality he possesses, but also his ability, his touching on and off the ball. Very, very intriguing signing by Pittsburgh.
Future star for the Riverhounds, and certainly has, of course, MLS aspirations. Right now, the Red Bulls 2 have aspirations to increase the lead to 2. Junior Flemings, it hit the side of the net.
Really like, though, that movement off the ball from Junior Flemings, taking the ball there from the center of the midfield feed to Stefano Bonomo. Bonomo picking up his head, playing the touch out there on the left channel into space. Could have very easily cut in, however, feeds Junior Flemings and not able to put that one on frame for Red Bulls 2.
Yeah, Junior wanted maybe a little more height and certainly a better direction on that ball as we are in the 43rd minute. Riverhounds with the throw-in. And if you missed it the first time, we want to remind you that Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. About to enter the 44th minute in the game that has essentially been a rubber stamp of the way Red Bulls 2 have played for the last 5 or 6 weeks. You mentioned that losing at Cincinnati 4-2, and they controlled a majority of the possession, which kind of is the familiar refrain with the first team also, except they do it a lot too many ties.
Some very good opportunities for the USL side in that match in Cincinnati. But here we've seen some good build-up, some good play. Right now, that final pass in the final third has sort of been lacking for Red Bulls too, as Pittsburgh sat back and kind of clogged things up 20, 25 yards out. But a number of opportunities and good half chances for Red Bulls too. On the Pittsburgh side of things right now, a bit more sustained possession for about 8 to 10 minutes here at the end of the first half. Half chances have been lacking just a little bit, but perhaps they've settled into this match just a bit more in the understanding of this new 4-1-4-1 formation.
On the far side, Greenspan. See what the Riverhounds can do on the throw-in. This is Romeo Parks. And there might be we can get a corner here? It looks like it's going to be the first corner of, no, it's going to be a throw. Just made it inside the flag, so it was a throw and not a corner. Riverhounds have not had one corner, I believe. Maybe they had one corner this game. Bezecourt looks to get out of danger. Riverhounds pressing here. We're in the 45th minute. Lone goal of the game, an own goal credited to the Red Bulls 2 in the 25th minute. And Toby Adewale with the throw-in. And New York in control.
A lot of space there for the gym.
But he elects to send it off. Now Valome. We are going to have 1 minute of stoppage as Najem looking for the far corner, deflects, and the Red Bulls 2 will get a corner. That one was ticketed for the corner. It was curving in. Very important intervention there from Joe Greenspan, just able to nod it over. That was going into the upper 90. But confidence we've seen from the gym right now, repeatedly pushing forward from that right flank, here carrying the ball in, and then from about 20, 22 yards out, able to line it up. That was going towards the upper 90. Matt Perella's had a tremendous first half for Pittsburgh. He's not able to stop that one if that goes on frame. Bezecourt, and it's headed by Joe Greenspan. Kept in, Red Bulls 2, one touch. And for Red Bulls 2, Scarlett, Najem in the box. Tenari with the boot, it goes above the net. Red Bulls 2 doing what they need to do, get the ball on net with time waning.
It's been sustained possession here and pressure from Red Bulls 2 throughout the first half. Number of opportunities we've seen. There's been space from about 20, 25 yards out. Seen about 4 or 5 opportunities that Red Bulls 2 has lined up from that distance.
And we get the whistle for the end of the first half. Pittsburgh Riverhounds came on a little bit in the last 7 or 8 minutes, but the score after 45 minutes, New York Red Bulls 2-1. And the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, nothing. We'll have a first half recap in just a minute. This is New York Red Bulls 2 television, USL Soccer.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars. Innovative technology and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
Ready to go. Big time atmosphere here at Red Bull Arena. Wide shot saved by Robles. Bradley right for it. Has scored! The machine. And New York is on fire. Hashtag New York is red. And who would argue with them?
Left out here to rot and burn. I never trusted your love. Don't need any of the games. All you do is
We welcome you back to the beautiful campus of Montclair State University, Essex County, northeast New Jersey, about 20 miles, maybe 50 miles west of Manhattan. Bob Gallerstein, Chris Dyer, New York Red Bulls 2 television. We are halfway through. Red Bulls 2-1, Pittsburgh Riverhounds nothing in a game that is essentially typical Red Bulls 2 this entire season.
It certainly has been an offensive output from New York Red Bulls to a number of good opportunities in the first half. Explosive first half from Stefano Bonomo, who's been involved in probably 3 or 4 of the half chances for this team. But the build-up, the passing, in particular the one-touch balls, getting out into space, into those wide areas, and then here an own goal off a set piece. But have to give an awful lot of credit to Vincent Bezecourt, who's been very dangerous on set pieces throughout the year for Red Bulls too, but in particular today. But when you talk about the offensive onslaught, it's been all one-way traffic so far for Red Bulls 2 in this first half.
Yeah, Junior Flemings, who was our feature player in the pregame with a very muscular presence out there, but hasn't quite put the ball in the net yet. And for Pittsburgh, you had Corey Herzog, our feature player, and a former New York Red Bull, who was the object of a couple of long passes, couldn't connect, and essentially he has been quiet, the leading scorer for the Riverhounds.
Yeah, the Red Bulls 2 backline has done a very good job, and you referenced it earlier in this first half, Bob. David Najem doing a very good job of shadowing Corey Herzog. Been so dangerous so far for Pittsburgh, 13 goals on the year for them, but right now taking out Herzog, and then on the flip side, Romeo Parks, who's been floating out kind of on that right wing to find space, also been held in check for Pittsburgh.
You're watching the Red Bulls street team. And that's something you taught them, right, Chris? The Red Bull street team doing their thing out there?
I'll plead the fifth on that one.
Okay, also, we must mention Matt Perella has played a strong game of goal for the Riverhounds.
Very, very good. If not for Perella and some of his theatrics there, this very easily could have been 2-3-0 as well. Joe Greenspan with an important deflection as well on a David Najem shot from about 20 yards out. If he wasn't standing there, doesn't push it away, that shot is destined for the upper 90. And Greenspan looking pretty good right now on loan from Minnesota United in the MLS.
You're looking at Montclair State University dance team or cheerleaders, because Montclair State's first team is going to be playing a game after Red Bulls 2. And that's one of the things that Red Bulls 2 is trying to do, is get more involvement from the students at Montclair State University, but of course getting the families in. It's a record crowd for the New York Red Bulls 2 in the home finale against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. An own goal credited to the New York Red Bulls, and that comes in the 25th minute, has given the New York Red Bulls 2 vying for a spot in the USL playoffs, a 1-0 lead after 45. Second half kick in just a minute. This is New York Red Bulls 2 soccer.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us, when others are down, to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at her best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
The race for the USL Golden Boot is one to watch entering the final weeks of the USL regular season. The USL's all-time leading scorer, Dane Kelly, leads the league's top offense in Reno 1868 FC. Kelly's 18 goals on the year are chasing Matt Fondy's USL single-season scoring record of 22, set back in 2015, as Kelly pursues the first Golden Boot of his career. Enzo Martinez is second in the race with 16, but hasn't tallied a goal since Week 24. Martinez and the Charlotte Independents enter Week 28 having clinched a spot in the playoffs, but looking to hold on to the number 2 seed. The Charleston Battery's Romario Williams has only played in 20 games this season, yet has scored 15 goals. June's Player of the Month is looking to get back into scoring form. The Jamaican international has been held scoreless since August 12th. Real Monarchs SLC's Chandler Hoffman has already matched his single-season high of 14 goals and has done it with the fewest shots of any player in Golden Boot contention. Hoffman's 46 shots are about half that of Dane Kelly, who leads the league with 93 shots. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds' Corey Herzog has played the most minutes of the players in the running and is coming off his third 2-goal performance on the year. Herzog's brace against Bethlehem Steel FC brought his season total to 13, the same number he had in the 2016 regular season. With 3 weeks to go, the contenders will look to end on a high note as the race nears the finish line. For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He knows he's a pretty big deal. How could you not love him?
We do anything for kids. Thanks for helping us. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars, innovative technology, and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
Ready to go. Big-time atmosphere here at Red Bull Arena. What shot saved by Robles. Bradley right for it. Has scored! The ultimate scoring machine. And New York is on fire. Hashtag New York is red. And who would argue with them?
Left out here to rot and burn. I never trusted your love. Don't need any of the games. All you do is complain.
As we welcome you back to beautiful Montclair State University, Bob Gallerstein with Chris Dyer. And you're looking at a record crowd for Red Bulls 2 here at Montclair State University.
They never show us in that record crowd, though, Bob.
Thank
They only
goodness.
show the beautiful people.
As well they should. First year of the Red Bulls 2 playing at Montclair State University. Third year of the team overall. First 2 years they played at Red Bull Arena. And you want to get a beautiful atmosphere here at Montclair State University. This is where it is at. And crowd should be bigger next year, only pushing season tickets. We have one really telltale stat, and Willie, our excellent top-rate public relations person, came into the booth just a couple of minutes ago, and when he gave me this stat sheet, one of the things he pointed out was this looks like a video game, because we look at total shots in this game in the first half. New York Red Bulls 2, 13 total shots. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds, nothing.
Yeah, 13-0 in terms of the total shots. But what sticks out to me from those 13 total shots, 2 on frame for Red Bulls 2. And that has to be frustrating for John Wallenick when you have 72% possession, 13-0 in terms of total shots, to not be able to turn that dominance in the final third into bigger and better opportunities. Certainly going to be frustrating.
Well, open play crosses 12-4 in favor of the Red Bulls, and corners, we were talking about this the entire first half. Red Bulls 2 with 6 corners and the Riverhounds with just 1, and one of those corners by Red Bulls 2 became a goal. An own goal, we don't know which Riverhound it bounced off of, but it was an own goal. We initially thought Stefano Bonomo would be credited for it.
But very much a deserved lead for Red Bulls 2. When you talk about what they were able to do in the first half, how tidy they were. I know the story is going to be the offensive dominance, Bob, but when you talk about how tidy they were in the back line, Corey Herzog denying him service, David Najim continually stepping forward, cutting off any kind of service for Corey Herzog, who ended up floating kind of out into a wide position. And then Romeo Parks on the right-hand side of this formation as well, really being taken out of the game. Pittsburgh being able to muster very little in the final third.
We're talking about being taken out of the game, and diehard Red Bulls fans will certainly like to wish Corey Herzog the best, except when he plays Red Bulls 2, and he has largely been invisible in this game. And you mentioned earlier that you're trying to play him out wide a little bit more, and even that didn't work out for Riverhounds. They tried to do some long passes to Corey Herzog, the leading scorer. That did not work out.
And Corey Herzog coming into this match, 6 goals in the past 6 games, twice over that stretch, scoring 2 goals, a brace in soccer parlance. His 13 goals is leading the team. Bob, you take the next 4 top goal scorers for Pittsburgh after Herzog, combine their goal tally equals 13 goals. Corey Herzog, 13 goals for this team. Taking him out and checking him out of this match has been a big reason why there's a goose egg on the scoreboard for Pittsburgh.
Well, Riverhounds will get possession to start. And when we start the second half, we will have a substitute for Pittsburgh. Stephen Ohai will be coming in. He's wearing number 7 for Abuchi Obinwa, who's number 6 for Pittsburgh. So number 7, Stephen Ohai is in for the midfield for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. First of 3 subs. Red Bull 2 has yet to execute 1 sub for this game. Imagine we'll see, we mentioned in the pregame, maybe Zico Lewis will get some minutes later on, but so far it's been a pleasure to see everyone here. We didn't mention in the last couple of minutes the terrific defense that Hassan and Dom played in the first half.
And Dom's been very good, and we talked about his learning curve and his development. And Dom really had to work tactically on where he was going to be in that center part of the back line. Very important for him to have that understanding, to not drift out, to not get caught ball watching. And a couple of the interventions that he had in the first half were very important for Red Bulls 2 to post a shutout through 45 minutes.
Noah Powder with a nice pass, threading the needle, intended for a below, and Riverhounds intercept. Looking for the equalizer, the Riverhounds. Kenroy Howe battling with the Red Bulls' Jordan Scarlett. And this will be Red Bulls 2 throw-in. And Noah with the honors. The buzzing you hear in the background, they're having trouble getting the clock started for the second half. It is stuck on 45 minutes.
And I thought my pizza bagels were ready.
Not an unusual occurrence. Well, your pizza bagels are probably being overcooked right now. A delicacy in the Dyer household. And right now, a delicacy on the field for Pittsburgh. Toby Adewale loses control. Looking downfield. Kenroy Howe, and too far. New York will control. staple of your diet?
I'll plead the fifth for a second time this match.
I'll plead the fifth also on that one, too.
I would rather get a real slice from Tabor Pizza Bob than a pizza bagel.
Confidence in his own cooking. Chris Dyer, New York Red Bulls 2. Confidence in this goalkeeper, Evan Lauro. Clean sheet so far.
If it wasn't for some heroics from Matt Perella, Pittsburgh could be looking at a 2 or 3 goal deficit at the half.
Perella was outstanding in that first half for the Riverhounds. And this will be Riverhounds possession. Victor Soltol in there. Back it goes for Greenspan. And Greenspan will head it over. Back to Perella. Bosamode to his right. And he gets the ball. Nice one-touch pass. A two-touch, we should say, over for Solto. And right now this press by the Red Bulls might result in a steal. Instead, booted out of there by Greenspan, but not across midfield. Let's see if Riverhounds can do it right here.
A little bit better now from the Riverhounds, having some difficulty breaking out of the press. But when they move the ball quickly, that's the best way to counter the press situation.
Junior Flemings gets called for a foul there, but his two-way play has certainly been better.
It certainly has been, but just going back to how to beat the counter press and this high press, quick ball movement. We even saw that ball from Joe Greenspan out of the back line. It was hurried, but it was quick. Got the ball to the feet of a Riverhounds player. You're able to do that. You cut through 2, 3 lines of the Red Bulls press, and all of a sudden you're talking about being able to move forward in numbers. Bit better response now through the opening 3-4 minutes of the first half for Pittsburgh.
Nice double team by the Red Bulls on the near side. Stolen by Pittsburgh. Little bit too far. Pass intended for Herzog, racing it down, and it's going to be a goal kick. I thought it deflected in off the Riverhounds, but it's going to be a goal kick and sent in, and Noah Powder sends it back for Hassan and Dom. Now Metzger. Quarterbacking out there. Nice thread the needle pass. Can they complete it? Bonomo just beyond his reach.
And that's one of the things I like about Stefano Bonomo. He's a player who, you look at him, he's got that kind of target forward type of build, 6'1", 6'2", good hold-up play, but his understanding, his running in the spaces, the channels, his positioning has always been very good. He's the guy who likes to play off the shoulder very often, and I think he's going to be somebody, Bob, who come January, February, when Red Bulls as an MLS side open up preseason, wouldn't surprise me to see Bonomo as one of those guys who gets a look.
Yeah, and I think that he's Brandon Allen, a faster version of Brandon Allen, perhaps.
Oh, I think Brandon Allen certainly is a goal scorer. As you see, former Red Bulls forward Corey Herzog on the ball there. Gotten a couple touches now in the second half. Important for Pittsburgh to get Corey Herzog on the ball in space, get those touches. He has the speed and the ability to get some separation. But whereas Brandon Allen, I think, brings a little bit more of a poacher's type of mentality.
Yeah.
When you're playing as a lone striker in this system, you don't need a hold-up type of forward, that target kind of classic forward that we think of when we think of American strikers, players like a Steven Lenhart or a Brian McBride, or those physical types who throw their bodies around. In the Red Bull system, you want someone who can run in those channels, run in space, time things, like a Bradley Wright Phillips. And that's why I think Stefano Bonomo has a good chance to be able to make this team's roster next year.
Well, Pittsburgh Riverhounds now with some effective pressing as the Red Bulls, too, are having trouble breaking out of their own end of the field. This is Greenspan. And it'll go back to Perella. Greenspan thinking home run, looking for Kenroy Howell. And Evan Laura will get to the ball first.
I know that was a simple play there from Hassan Endam to chase down the ball, but just the little distribution he had right there, big part of his learning curve to not do too much on the ball.
Bezecourt pinching Powder in the middle, headed away. Well, Noah Power pulling a page out of the Kamar Lawrence book, pinching down the left side.
And I really, really like Noah Powder and his development in his game. Know that, he had to kind of go out there and find and see where things were developing. But Powder's ability to overlap, his growth and development over the past few months, been a big part, I think, why the back line for Red Bulls 2 has solidified, Bob. But also moving forward in the final third, the width that he provides to this team is very important.
Fans, we want you to stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays 9 p.m. on SiriusXM FC 85. Also, don't forget SiriusXM FC 85 will air the USL Game of the Week. Please check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. Is this time for a Riverhounds goal? Racing in is Kenroy Howe. Battling with him, Noah Powder from the outside. Romeo Parks. And that'll be a goal kick for Evan Laurel. Noah Powder doing it on both sides of the field here. And that's one thing that Jesse March, the first team head coach, is very, very strict on, and that is having a strong defensive presence.
Well, you look at the Red Bulls as an MLS side. You've got Kamar Lawrence, who pushes forward well. On the other side of the field, you have the opportunities by Murillo and other players as outside backs who can bring that speed, but that ability to push forward. With all that being said, you look at Kamar Lawrence and where he's at in his career, in his mid-20s, the possibility perhaps to move to Europe. Noah Powder might be the Red Bulls starting left back in 2 years' time.
Indeed. Well, you had a report that a couple League One teams, Nice, I think Bordeaux, are interested in Kamar Lawrence. And selfishly, I hope he stays with Red Bull. But that's another banner signing by Red Bulls. And that's why you hope that they get a championship sooner than later before they lose another player to Europe. Let's think that if Tim Ream was on the team back 3 years ago, that the Cup would have come to New York.
Yeah, Tim Ream, certainly a very talented player, solidified himself with the U.S. national team, but a guy who was taken by Red Bulls in the mid to late portions of the MLS Super Draft. When you look at Kamar Lawrence as well, Bob, a lot of people don't know this, but he was on trial with DC United for a couple weeks before coming to the Red Bulls and impressing and doing a good job. Took him a little bit of time. Roy Miller was the incumbent left back there for the Red Bulls for a number of years before Kamar Lawrence took opportunity with an injury to be able to solidify his place in the starting 11. But again, DC United cast off all of a sudden, now probably one of the best outside backs in MLS. Have to give Jesse Marsh and sporting director at the time, Ollie Curtis, I think, a lot of credit for finding that gem.
Jordan Scarlett with the kick. And looking far side, below, headed, and out of bounds it goes. It'll be corralled by Matt Perella. And the Pittsburgh keeper with the big boot down to Red Bulls 2 territory. Hassan Ndam, not a good header. Riverhounds in control. Looking across. Kenroy Howe. Powder heads it out of the box. Now Bezecourt for Red Bulls 2.
That whole sequence there, perhaps Pittsburgh's best look so far through 55, 56 minutes of this match. Bit of a miscue there from Jordan Scarlett in the back line, not doing a good job clearing the ball well. And then Pittsburgh able to string together a couple of passes, stretch Red Bulls 2 back line.
Tenari with the throw-in on the far side. And it goes back to Scarlett. This is Florian Valo. Might have been deflected, so the gem in control. Now Bezecourt, watched by Taylor Washington. Bezecourt, box, triple team, loses control, no foul. Pittsburgh in control. Kenroy Howe, 3-on-3. Intercepted Valo. Florian Valo, great anticipation to Bonomo. There's Valo again. He lost his footing on this field turf. Otherwise, the Red Bulls 2 might have had a 3-on-3. The Gem finesses it up the sideline, and that should be a foul on Pittsburgh. It will be Red Bulls 2 possession. That's Bezecourt, who is down. Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. And he's walking it off. Vincent Bezecourt is. We've had only one sub for Pittsburgh, and that was at the 46th minute.
The Pittsburgh Riverhounds, number 4, Taylor Washington.
They did give Washington a yellow card.
Bezecourt, such a clever player, though, when he's given time, the ability to turn and head towards goal. It's been a handful for Pittsburgh so far, and it looks like Pittsburgh's going to be making yet another substitution. A little surprised by this one there, Bob. Kenroy Howell coming off the field. Walsh coming on, perhaps being able to provide a little bit of a different look. We might be seeing Pittsburgh going with more of a two-forward alignment now.
Siobhan Chevy Walsh is coming in. This is his 21st game. He has 5 goals and 2 assists for the Riverhounds. And right now, Red Bulls 2 looking to go up 2-0. And Dom. And that's not necessarily a good pass, so it'll be Riverhounds with a throw-in. Adam has had a solid game. On the throw-in for Pittsburgh, Toby Adewale. And it's corralled by Scarlett, sends it back to Loro. Riverhounds asserting themselves much more in this second half, although they have yet to put the ball in the net. 58th minute. The lone goal of the game of the 25th minute, originally credited to Stefano Bonomo, then changed to an own goal.
Yeah, a little bit surprised, though, by the substitution a few moments ago by Pittsburgh head coach Dave Brand. Thought Howell was one of the players in the second half, was tucking in a bit more centrally, was getting more of the ball. Thought that he was showing very well and was being able to spark a couple of the opportunities for Pittsburgh here in the second half.
I'm just wondering if Brandt is going with the subs earlier than usual, because Pittsburgh's in a bit of a desperate situation. Only 2 more games after this. Currently 11th in the East, but a lot of teams are bunched up. They got to get 3 points out of this game. So perhaps a bit of a gamble. It's not something that he might have done in May or June.
And certainly a Pittsburgh team that right now winless in their last 5 games as results stay.
And Riverhounds almost in the box, taking the shot, blocked. Corey Herzog with the shot. So Pittsburgh still nothing on goal.
Yeah, Walsh with his first touch right there of the match since coming in just a few moments ago. Well blocked.
The shots in the first half, 13-0 in favor of Red Bulls 2. And here we are in minute number 60. And Dom in control. Hey, fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays 9 p.m. on Sirius XM FC 85. Also, don't forget Sirius XM FC 85 will air the USL Game of the Week. Please check USLsoccer.com for dates and times.
Oh, another good save. We haven't heard much from Matt Perella here in the second half, as Pittsburgh been able to keep a little bit more possession and have more opportunities, but important save right there at the near post from Perella.
And we have a Pittsburgh player who is down holding his left leg, and for the Riverhounds, that is Toby Adewale. Very valuable member of this Riverhounds team of late.
Yeah, Adewale's one of those tough, feisty players, unafraid to get really, get stuck in a little bit along the back line. Plays a physical brand, not overtly physical, solid overall in his positioning. This would be a big loss for them if they have to go with the 3rd sub now, just as we enter the 61st minute.
Yeah, and looks like somebody may be coming over just in case for the Riverhounds to sub in for Adewale. We have a moment here. I want to talk about what's going on with the first team that has a big game coming up with the Vancouver Whitecaps, October 7th. And also later today, as soon as this game is over in another hour, Red Bulls 2 on the road at Toronto FC, playing without Sebastian Javinko, but Josie Altidore will be in the lineup.
Yeah, that's going to be a big loss there. And I think when you've looked at some of the previous matchups between these teams, I'm thinking more in particular at Red Bull Arena, but Red Bulls has done a good job of being able to corral Josie Altidore.
Yes, they have.
But no matter what, Javinko, a player, when he drifts out there into the wide spaces, he can isolate 1v1. We've talked about Vincent Bezecourt in this match, but Javinko is such a special player. And to me, if you're going to start an MLS franchise with any player in the league right now, Javinko is that guy because he makes everyone around him better. And his absence certainly going to be hugely, hugely missed by Toronto.
Well, being helped off the field, they may have to sub in, and looks like Pittsburgh is going with its third sub. So coming in for the Riverhounds, be Shannon Gomez coming in for Toby Adewale. So the Riverhounds have used their third sub, and we're only in the 62nd minute. So the gamble by Dave Brandt, looking for 3 points, looking for the win. Well, they hope the Riverhounds hope it does not backfire on them.
Yeah, Shannon Gomez this will be his 9th appearance so far. He has 5 starts with Pittsburgh. He's on loan from New York City FC. He's a good player, good outside back, can do a nice job, can also tuck in and play centrally as well. Yeah, he's a talented player, very much beginning to enter his prime right now. Primarily used as an outside player, but certainly think that he has the skill set, although he doesn't have the stature, Bob, at 5'7", but he has the tenacity to be able to tuck inside when need be.
You know, it's like Connor Lade of the Red Bulls is one of the most popular Red Bulls the last few years. There might be another popular Red Bull next few years. Junior Flemings, 1-on-3, oversteps the ball. By the way, speaking of New York City FC, it is not unrealistic to think, as Bonomo turnaround shot corralled by Perella, and he holds on.
Yeah, so quick there from Bonomo just to be able to put that one on opportunity. Again, we talked about Matt Perella so much in the first half with the big saves that he had to keep Pittsburgh in it. Here, Red Bull's high press, winning the ball over. Bonomo turning one touch, putting it on frame.
It looks like it was deflected, so Perella had to change direction. You mentioned New York City FC. It's not unrealistic to think that if City drops to third, that the Red Bulls will have the one-game playoff to get in, advance to the top 4 at Yankee Stadium.
That would certainly be an interesting playoff match. At Yankee Stadium, no less. That was a place that's been a little house of horror for the Red Bulls.
Red Bulls fans think it's 7-0.
That was a long time ago in MLS.
It's only last year, but yes, it was. Especially, well, New York. Good credit to New York City FC. They won the series that year. Red Bulls beat them in the U.S. Open Cup, but season series 2 City.
Yeah, no wins so far in regular season play for the Red Bulls this year against New York City FC. Can't help but wonder, though, in a playoff scenario, one match, how that might play out with the emotions.
Indeed. Right now, Pittsburgh trying to, a very emotional team because they can, I don't think 1 point is going to do it for them here with 2 games left. They have to get 3 points here. Let's see what Kevin Kerr can do. Looking for Herzog, and right there, Hassan Ndam. Great anticipation. Look at Ndam. And are they going to rule it a goal kick? Yes, indeed, that's going to be the case. So another great one-on-one play by Hassan Ndam on the leading goal scorer for the Riverhounds, Corey Herzog. This is Junior Flemings. Ahead for Bonomo. Looking for Flemings a little bit too far, and right there.
What a clever touch, though, from Stefano Bonomo. Understanding the run that Flemings was going to make in that channel, just being able to weigh it perfectly into his path.
Riverhounds quickly upfield. Romeo Parks drop. Stephen Okai. And this should be Red Bull 2 possession. And that's going to be the case.
Game opening up a little bit now after a first half that was clearly tilted in the direction of Red Bulls 2. Pittsburgh now a little bit more possession, being able to stretch things, being able to play the ball out wide. In turn, Red Bulls 2 having to respond, finding a bit more space now in the final third, with Pittsburgh having to commit more numbers forward to try to find that equalizer.
Well, granted, this Red Bulls 2 roster is a lot different from last year's team. Again, somebody playing Tyler Adams had made the first team.
Derek Etienne.
Yep. But last year's team in these situations, the last 20 minutes or so, Red Bulls 2 would be up 1-0, and then boom, 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 be 4-0 by the end of the by the final whistle.
Yeah, it certainly is a little bit of a different roster, and that's part of the reason why I think you can make the argument that John Wolyniec has done a better job this year with coaching this team into a playoff position, if the result holds today, than maybe last year, which was such a star-laden team.
Here's Bezecourt. And a good defensive play. That's a foul on Bezecourt. It'll be Riverhounds possession. We're in the 67th minute. The lone goal of the game in the 25th minute. An own goal credited to the Red Bulls. On a corner kick, Bezecourt, we thought it was headed in by Bonomo, but instead it was subsequently ruled an own goal. Still 1-0 in favor of Red Bulls 2.
I think it's been a good response here in the second half from Pittsburgh. They've done a better job with their build-up play, playing a little bit cleaner out of the back as well, quickly being able to get the ball, countering that high press from Red Bulls 2 that has frustrated so many teams at this level, and being able to get the ball out wide into some of the dangerous places.
And by the same count, it could also allow Red Bulls 2 to counter and get an odd man rush.
There's absolutely more space on the field. Like we just mentioned, the game has opened up a little bit as Pittsburgh commits more numbers forward. It is a dangerous proposition, but right now we're looking 24, 25 minutes left in the match. It's going to be, there's going to be some spaces.
Well, Douglas Martinez, this is the first Red Bulls 2 sub. Douglas Martinez is coming in, and he has an incredible amount of upside. Coming in at forward, I missed who he's coming in for. I assume it's going to be one of either Bonomo, Flemings, or...
I think it might end up being Bonomo. Looks like they're going to keep Bonomo on for this set piece. And then the next stop, it'll probably be Douglas Martinez.
Headed off of Metzger and out of bounds it goes. So this will be a goal kick. Are they saying it's going to be a corner for Red Bulls? Let's see.
I think it is going to be a corner kick for Pittsburgh right now. Metzger with that emergency
It looks like
touch.
that's Bonomo that's on all fours there. And he's getting up.
And it
is for Bonomo.
It is going to be Bonomo coming off in a few moments for Douglas Martinez.
Fourth official for the second time holds up the placard.
And we have a fair amount of noise here. I think Pittsburgh's traveled some members of the Steel Army. Their supporters club has come on out for this match, and they're trying to spur their team on to the equalizer.
Riverhounds with another set piece here. Sub has not occurred yet, even though the placard was held up a third time. Nice header. That was Hassan and Dom. Riverhounds still in control. And Laura was able to grab that. Closest Riverhound there was Chevy Walsh.
Now, we just mentioned the Steel Army a few moments ago, Bob. Is there a better mascot in the USL, I'm going to say, than in all of professional soccer, than Ammo? Named after the three rivers in Pittsburgh, Allegheny, Monongahela, and the Ohio River. Great entertaining mascot. Love that name, though. I know you do, too. You're a big fan of Ammo.
I am. And, of course, you forgot the key word involved with Ammo. You have to use, of those three rivers, at the confluence. That's the big word with those three. And right now, this is the big three for the Red Bulls up on top. Bezecourt and Flemings, and the player down for the Red Bulls is Bonomo, as we still, once again, he's on all fours, as we still wait the sub of Martinez.
And Bob, you're not allowed to use confluence unless you can spell it.
Confluence?
I would have just pled the fifth. Again.
Now for the fourth time, we do have the assistant referee holding up the sub flag.
And Douglas Martinez is going to be the player coming in. Perhaps brings a little bit more speed, less of the kind of hold-up play that we talked about. Bonomo is able to play. Member of the Honduran national team under 20s at the recently concluded under 20 World Cup. He is a talented player, perhaps finding a little bit of a transition, an uphill battle in terms of his transition, but a very talented player, gifted in those 1v1 situations.
Well, now finally, sixth time is a charm. We are going to get the sub as the Red Bulls will have the free kick. Douglas Martinez adds an element of speed here, along with his goal-scoring ability. Somebody who makes things happen out on the pitch. Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. And this is Red Bulls 2 soccer. And Velo at the kick, looking for the far corner, just missed it. Not by much.
Red Bulls have been very dangerous here on set pieces throughout this match. This one from Velo, about 25, 28 yards out, almost puts it on frame.
That's one thing that Red Bulls 2 have over the first team. Much better this year on set pieces. Metzger tries to kick it out of danger, get the Red Bulls 2 going with the press. They have not established the press that much, Red Bulls 2 in the second half. Riverhounds with more possession, but they have not been able to get a good shot. And going 1-on-4 and stealing it to Nari. That'll be a Riverhounds throw-in, or it'll be Red Bulls 2 throw-in. Over the back of that, yeah, it's going to be a foul. And I believe that was Greenspan assessed the foul. 73rd minute. The own goal assessed, credited to the Red Bulls. At the 25th minute, the lone tally of the game. In the box, Junior, and off the foot of Martinez, and it'll be a Red Bull corner. And, of course, Mr. Bezecourt with the honor. Martinez, Flemings, and Velo, closest to the goal of Pittsburgh. And on the replay, there's Martinez, and it had it booted away from him. Good defensive play by Mossamonde. Metzger, deflected off for Riverhound, racing after it in the gem. Nice thread the needle down the side. Kept it inside the touchline, the gem. Below, good footwork, tried to loft it into the box, and that should be a corner for the Red Bulls, and that's going to be the case for RB2.
After about 20 minutes or so, Bob, where we saw Pittsburgh being able to get back into the game with a bit more possession, a couple half chances, we've seen now that Red Bulls 2 have been able to reestablish a bit of a stronger hold on this match. A couple of set-piece opportunities and a big one here on a corner kick.
And this goes all the way out to Noah Powder. To Velo. Velo's footwork is absolutely incredible. He has to be more consistent with that to be an MLS player, but he's absolutely fabulous to watch.
And what a great touch, though, by Powder on that pass.
Now, Bezecourt. Tanari with the shot. Bezecourt made that play with the spinorama footwork, getting the ball to Tanari, almost resulted in a goal.
And I really like this from Andrew Tanari, a player who plays very deep lying in this midfield as a number 6, being able to take this ball here from about 25 yards out. We've seen Andrew Tanari, this has to be the third opportunity that he's had lined up from outside the box. Like the fact that now for Red Bulls 2, he's getting established in the final third, not just being that destroyer type in the midfield, but bringing a little bit of punch now in terms of the scoring options for this team.
Jordan Scarlett's pass a little bit too far for Junior Flemings. Riverhounds to throw it in. Riverhounds have no subs left. Red Bulls have one. Bezecourt. Bezecourt still in control, and I'm not sure that he was probably thinking pass initially, and he did not get off a good shot. So it'll be a corner kick for Matt Perella, who has kept, certainly in the first half, these Riverhounds in the game.
Well, we talked about in Red Bulls 2 right now seems to be finding spaces. Pittsburgh's committing more numbers forward. There's a space in front of the final back line, those final 4 for Pittsburgh that Red Bulls 2 has been exploiting.
Racing after the ball, and it goes high. You can see the frustration on the face and body language of Shannon Gomez. He wanted to put that on goal. And getting back to that last shot by Bezecourt, it looked like it did deflect off a Riverhound. It might have, because it may have been missed, because maybe that's why it went so wide.
And
the ball's corralled by Perella.
And that was the first real opportunity there for Romeo Parks so far. And we're talking about 76, 77 minutes into the match. Red Bulls 2 has done a good job of denying the service, making sure that they're bodying him up so that he's not able to turn. But Romeo Parks, with space in on goal, perhaps could have taken another touch.
Parks
had a little bit of a better opportunity there.
Parks
Bob.
wearing 36 and Gomez 38, so I apologize for the confusion between the two.
And we talked with Dave Brand about it before the match. Of course, Romeo Parks with a bit of the infamous scuffle, we'll say, from last year's match in Pittsburgh, and said, did you talk with your player at all about him? Coach Brand said no. When he came into the team, came in a little bit later, talked about him, talked about the maturing, talked about what we needed and expected from him. There was no need to talk about it this week. And right now, Romeo Parks' first real opportunity of the match.
Well, Dilly Duca, who is normally a first-team player, is getting some minutes here to keep him fresh, and he comes in for Junior Flemings.
Important moments for Dilly Duca.
Absolutely.
He came into the team about 6 weeks ago on trial, showed well. Originally with the Columbus Crew, only played in one match with the Crew as a right back, no less. This is a player who came up through the vaunted Red Bulls Academy system. Saw Bob Montgomery here, director of the Academy, walking around. And Duca's one of those players who came into the league in 2010 before there was a homegrown system in place. And now with the opportunity here with Red Bulls to be able to get a few minutes as well with the USL side, important 15 minutes or so for Dilly Duca.
Well, Red Bulls want depth for a playoff run. Right now, season ends right now. The Red Bulls aren't in, but in by a toenail. And we're getting a yellow card on Pittsburgh, and that is...
I think it's going to be Sharoy Walsh.
Yep. Chevy Walsh gets the yellow, and it comes in the 78th minute.
And Walsh right now, the number 9 for Pittsburgh. A little bit of a physical player right there, just loss of possession. Not sure if he was the one who got the foul necessarily. I think that might have been Romeo Parks with the yellow card. He had the late challenge on Metzger.
We'll allow Evan Lauro. You hear the voice of the legendary Rich Kaufman on the public address.
Yes, easily one of the best announcers in the USL.
There's no question about that.
And for those who don't know, Bob Gallerstein over here is the voice of Red Bull Arena, also the voice here of MSU Soccer Park for Red Bulls 2 matches. So we're having a little bit of fun with Rich Kaufman, who does a great job with the video team here. He's filling in today on the public address and doing a rather decent job.
I'm out of a job. I think he's done a much better job.
Well, you never should have been in it, but that's a discussion for another day, Bob.
All's fair in love and public address. For the New York Red Bulls 2, Noah Powder with the throw-in. Bezecourt, box, deflected outside. Metzger, big save made by Perella.
Tremendous afternoon just continues for Matt Perella. Can't fault him on the one goal that Pittsburgh conceded. Absolutely cannot fault him on this one here. Clinical goalkeeping from the Pittsburgh goaltender. Metzger lining it up. And again, we've talked about the opportunities from outside the box. Red Bulls 2 putting those on frame, and Perella pairing this one well athletically.
Game-saving save. That looked like it was ticketed for the upper corner.
We've mentioned that about 3 or 4 times with Perella so far this match. Number of big saves. I would say easily man of the match for either club.
I agree. Let's see if Red Bulls 2 can make it 2-0. Bezecourt in the box, off the head, I think, of Jordan Scarlett. And this will end up being a goal kick for Perella. Riverhounds running out of time here. They're out of subs. We're in the 80th minute. As of now, not much stoppage time. Essentially a jump ball. Fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays, 9 p.m. on SiriusXM FC Channel 85. Also, don't forget, Chris, SiriusXM FC will air the USL Game of the Week. Please check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. And this is Vincent Bezecourt. Might have time for another goal here. Another save by Perella. That one looked like it may have been going wide. Better safe than sorry.
We mentioned Bob Montgomery before. Not the only celebrity here at MSU Soccer Park. Frank Isola.
Bezecourt. And that one heading toward the post. So another save by Perella. Certainly on goal. Big shot advantage for Red Bull 2 this game over the Riverhounds. It was 13-0 after the first half. But the only goal, an own goal, credited to the Red Bulls in the 25th minute. And right now, let's see what Douglas Martinez can do. Breaking down the near side. Martinez in front and missing it. Almost 2-0.
Dilly Duca very nearly putting his name on the score sheet there. I know that the finish at the end was missing, but like this from Douglas Martinez, the unselfishness, and Duca just needing to be able to turn the knee right a little bit there. Gotta like that run at the back post for Dilly Duca.
Yeah, you also gotta put those in though, and that's what he's being paid to do. But what a feed by Martinez. Here's some Pittsburgh contingent fans here. Record crowd for Red Bulls 2 on the home finale. 3 road games after this at Tampa, at Orlando, and then old rival Rochester. I'll say old rival. Red Bulls only in the third year, but they've had some great games. Red Bulls 2 in Rochester. Right now we've got a great one here. Upfield, Romeo Parks sends it in the corner. Chevy Walsh, and it deflects wide.
Well, it's been a big afternoon for David and Jim. We've mentioned his name several times, pushing forward in the final third, but also the work that he's done in the back line. This ball getting sprayed well out here by Parks. Walsh playing it across the 6-yard box. If Najim doesn't make that play, I think we're talking about a 1-1 scoreline.
A heel save by Najim. Wow. It's been a pleasure watching his improvement this whole season. Virtually everyone on the roster. Bezecourt looking for Duca. Riverhounds get there first. Kevin Kerr, back pass. This is Parks, watched by Powder. Red Bulls 2 continuing the press. We're now in the 84th minute. And there's David Najim, Johnny on the spot once again. Well, 1482. That's the new record for Red Bulls 2 here at Montclair State University. And we will have a Red Hawks game after this one.
7 p.m., the Montclair State University Red Hawks take the field.
I know a lot of those Red Hawks players have become big fans of Red Bull and Red Bull 2 especially.
Always one of the best programs in the country, consistently ranked in the Division III level. A little bit of a rebuilding year, but they're going to be at the top of the NJAC next year.
Another set piece for the Riverhounds. And it's in! It hit the crossbar, I believe. I thought that hit the back of the net.
I thought very nearly that was. Corey Herzog right there, camped inside the 6 as the ball got pinged around a little bit, just putting that up against the frame. But, wow, that was a close call.
Tim Schmoll, the 6'6 defender for the Red Bulls, coming in for Andrew Tenari in the 85th minute. You like to see Schmoll get in for those headers there at 6 foot, 6'6", Tim Schmoll.
And contrary to what the screen says, it is Tim Schmoll, the Harvard grad, coming in and not Ben Mines. But this was very dangerous here. I don't know how Corey Herzog. We talked about Dilly Duca a few moments ago, needing to put that one on frame. It was right there for Pittsburgh's leading goal scorer. Very nearly goal number 14 for the former Red Bull striker.
You cannot get any closer to putting the ball in the net with a crossbar. When it hit the crossbar, the top of the net wavered, and that's what threw me off. Now Schmoll, great body positioning to get possession to Noah Powder. Pittsburgh's best opportunity, and they hit the crossbar. Duca looking for the double team, sliding his Powder, and Florian Vallot in control for Red Bulls 2. Vallot tripped up. That's going to be a foul on Pittsburgh.
Well, we're going to talk about that miss from Dilly Duke a few moments ago in the home end, but great defensive work from the former Montville Mustang player. Came up through the Red Bulls Academy system and now back with the New York Red Bulls.
And that's going to be a yellow on Romeo Parks. And that comes in the 86th minute.
This very nearly could have been a breakaway, and Parks, I think, needing to make that tackle right there, having to shore things up because Red Bulls 2 was pushing forward with numbers, and especially dangerous when Velo gets in those spaces.
Well, now we get another opportunity for another Bezecourt specialty, and he's got the leg for it.
And
I didn't jinx him. They got a goal.
And he
earlier.
also has a target there, just entered the match, in Tim Schmoll. Imagine he's going to be going towards the back post.
This I'm looking forward to seeing. Schmoll is going to pinch toward the goal. It's actually on the second line of attackers there, but nothing much happens with that kick, so it still will be Red Bulls 2 possession.
And Schmoll can be so dangerous with those runs towards the back post, either playing the ball back across the face of goal or being able to put in an effort 1v1.
Red Bulls 2 will look to take things a little slower now, the 87th minute. Certainly keep the ball down in the Pittsburgh end of the field. Bezecourt, one touch. Martinez regained Bezecourt. And it goes out to Tim Schmoll.
Well, that was a very important challenge there from Greenspan. I know Martinez is down on the field right now, holding his head. Perhaps that was just the impact that he had on this turf here, but Greenspan stepping in decisively. Good, clean challenge from the Loney from Minnesota United, who's, I think, Bob, has had a very good match so far for Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. Well, this is not a case of killing time here. We're going to have, this is going to be extra time. Right now, I'd say we got about 3 minutes or so. We'll find out, obviously, in a couple minutes. But Martinez does get up. And I think that if it was on grass, he might not have been hurt as much, but let's see how hard he hit the turf here.
Yeah, and Douglas Martinez going in on goal with a head full of steam, taking a little bit of a push, throwing off his balance. Then Greenbaum's challenge, legs sticking out, just contact, a little bit of a boom-boom type of play right there. And one of the things you like to see is that, you know, probably a few years ago when we didn't know as much about concussions, a player like that would have just rubbed some dirt on it and perhaps kept on playing. But right now, to see him coming off, making sure that everything goes through the protocol okay, is going to be, it's a good sign in development.
Absolutely. Better safe than sorry. Big upside for number 91 for the Red Bulls 2, Douglas Martinez. As is for everyone on this roster. Improvement everywhere this year. And it's shown by the team playing a lot better in the last month and a half.
Well, let's talk about just in this match right now, Bob. You know, Dave Brandt, the job that he did at halftime with some of his adjustments to get Pittsburgh in, very nearly pulling back that equalizer. This Pittsburgh team's responded well against a good team, rode through some ups and downs, and certainly tremendous goalkeeping from Matt Perella. But you talk about Pittsburgh getting back into this match. They deserve some credit for the adjustments they've made.
Noah Powder doing a nice job of killing time, but the lost possession of the ball. Pinching is Jordan Scarlett to Bezecourt. We're in the 89th minute in the box. Dilly Duca looking for the steal. Riverhounds need to tie. Running out of time. Bezecourt. Below. And look at Hassan Ndam anticipating that pass coming in.
An important step up right there. Keep in mind, Red Bulls now down a man because Douglas Martinez having to go off, no more substitutes. They're going to have to ride out 3, I'm guessing probably 4 minutes of stoppage time down a man if they want to get what would be a crucial 3 points for their playoff hopes.
We're getting word from the sideline that we're going to have 5 minutes stoppage time. And here's Martinez. And that's going to be Pittsburgh possession to foul on Martinez. That's a big call in favor of Pittsburgh. They're going to boot the ball down. That's an expected kick here, but Red Bulls get possession.
And Pittsburgh right now has to do a better job in terms of their building up. They have to be able to get some sort of sustained possession.
5 minutes stoppage.
Get the ball out wide to Romeo Parks. Get something into Corey Herzog. This is where great goal scorers make their bread and butter. it's going to be the opportunity for Corey Herzog if they can get him the ball inside the 18.
And also opportunity for Evan Lauro to make a big save if necessary for Red Bulls 2. We are in stoppage time in the second half. The lone goal a game, an own goal credited to the Red Bulls in the 25th minute. On a set piece, Bezecourt kicking it in. We thought initially Stefano Bonomo got the goal. A couple minutes later, called an own goal. Riverhounds with the kick. And Romeo Parks out there with Taylor Washington. And there's Lauro.
Kevin Kerr lurking right there at the back post. Haven't called out his name too much in this match. I think he's had some difficulty finding the ball, but certainly dangerous in those opportunities if the ball was able to get through to him.
Ball took a field turf bounce over the head of Dilly Duca. And Duca gains possession. Powder to Tim Schmoll. Nice move by Schmoll. That's definitely a foul. Good call.
And I think perhaps Schmoll a little bit bailed out right there. Took one touch too many when the better part of prudence would have been just play it down the line and kill a few more moments. But Schmoll being helped out a little bit there. Hard charge and foul from Kerr when perhaps he just had to just ride it out.
And Red Bulls 2 will send it downfield to kill some time. We're about a minute into stoppage. Pittsburgh needs possession. And they get it here. Let's see how fast they can get it downfield. It's not going to happen. Metzger with the interception. Into the box. Looking for the call. Florian Velo, not happening.
And Douglas Martinez back on the field, so it's even 11-11.
There he is, right side. Velo's in the box along with Duca. Here's Duca, tees it up, shoots it wide.
Oh, Dilly Duca sitting right there in a pocket of space right at the 12-yard mark. A few minutes ago, he had an opportunity on an open net, and here, gotta like the opportunity that, again, Duca is finding these opportunities.
Should he have
finding this space. He had one touch right there, just inches away from tucking that inside and putting this game away for Red Bulls 2. But I guess he decided to give us an exciting finish.
It's a big game. Pittsburgh 11th in the East. Red Bulls just right ahead of them. Pittsburgh needs 3 points here. They don't win this game. They have 2 games. Riverhounds have 2 games left. It's going to be a bit of a long shot to make the playoffs. Red Bull 2 hold on to win. If they win another of their remaining 3 games, almost Martinez there, then Red Bulls 2 can virtually determine their own fate.
But Pittsburgh, 2 home matches coming up against Rochester next week, and then the week after against the Ottawa Fury. Neither one of those matches are going to be very easy. Rochester's a tough physical team, but I think that being able to control their own destiny with some of the players they have.
Good steal, Duca in front, goal for the Red Bulls. Florian Velo, there's the clincher. Dilly Duca atoning for the 2 misses, the big steal. And there's Florian Velo with the gimme. Red Bulls 2 with a couple of goals now, and Pittsburgh Riverhounds nothing.
Yeah, if you're Red Bulls head coach Jesse Marsh and you're watching this match in Toronto, you're going to like what you just saw there from Dilly Duca, winning the ball, getting involved in the counter press right there, very deep up the field, creating a turnover, and then the presence of mind to be able to pick out Velo, who I think has had a very understated match here for Red Bulls 2. Couple of opportunities. Finally able to get his name on the score sheet, but good work there from Montville's finest, Dilly Duca.
And Montville is, if you're not familiar with North Jersey, I would say about 15 miles from where we are right now in Montclair State University goal. Montclair State University, that is. And Montclair State University hopes to get a bunch of goals in the game after this one. So Red Bulls 2 will get 3 more points. They'll vault into a playoff position pending other USL action this weekend. It'll be a big 3 points. About 2 minutes of stoppage time left.
And this is going to be a team, Bob, now with a 2-0 score line. I don't think anyone in the USL, given the way that Red Bulls 2 has played over the past 6 weeks, I don't think anyone's going to want to face them in the postseason. John Wolonek has this team peaking at just the right time of the year, not unlike last year.
That was a very fast 5 minutes of stoppage time.
Well, it felt that way because you're next to me calling the game.
A big game for New York Red Bulls, too, before a record home crowd at Montclair State University. This is the first year of Montclair State University. Previous two were at Red Bull Arena. New York Red Bulls 2 defeat the Pittsburgh Riverhounds 2-0. We will wrap it up right after this. This is New York Red Bulls 2 television.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars. Innovative technology and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
Ready to go. Big-time atmosphere here at Red Bull Arena. What shot saved by Robles. Bradley right for it. Has scored! The ultimate scoring machine. And New York is on fire.
Hashtag New York is red. And who would argue with them?
Make a great impression in front of your largest crowd of the season on the last home game of the year. As you see David the Gem signing autographs, he played a strong game. Hassan and Dom signing autographs for this record crowd for New York Red Bulls 2 here at Montclair State. Red Bulls 2 defeating the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in a crucial game in a thrust for the playoff for both teams, 2-0. And the Red Bulls got the lone goal in the first half.
Yeah, and it was a tremendous corner kick here from Vincent Bezecourt right on the edge of the 6-yard box. An own goal from Pittsburgh, but very much deserved in a first half where Red Bulls 2 had the predominance of possession. If it wasn't for Matt Perella's heroics in the first half and then a tremendous save, I think USL save of the week in the second half, this game could have easily gone out of hand. Red Bulls 2 dodged a bullet. Corey Herzog, former Red Bulls striker at the MLS level, clanging one off the crossbar. And then a few minutes before the game ended, Dilly Duca in the counter press doing what he's supposed to do, turning the corner and then laying a ball off for Florian Velo. Really very much capping off a match where Red Bulls 2, Bob, they dominated possession, they dominated chances. But I want to talk about Dave Brandon, what he did with Pittsburgh. Opening 20-25 minutes of the second half, did a nice job in being able to settle things down. We saw more possession. This is a brand new formation that they're trotting out here, so there's some growing pains, but I think you saw that if they're able to get some results, this may be a team that could squeak into the playoffs. I think the performance today showed a resilient bunch that hasn't given up on the season.
You're looking at one of the pleasures of attending a New York Red Bulls 2 game because these players come right up and sign as many autographs after the game as possible.
And one of the pleasures of listening to the game is listening to the great Bob Gallerstein on the call.
I've made a lot of people deaf over the years. However, we also want to mention Hassan and Dom. I was so impressed with his backline play today.
Yes, I know you're the president of his fan club on Facebook, and I joined that group too today. He did a really nice job there, positioning wise. His tactical acumen growing each and every game. Somebody from the MLS roster who's on loan, the 18-year-old, looking the part of somebody who's going to be making that jump up to the senior roster. I'm guessing next year we're probably going to see him with Red Bulls 2 at that level, making a contribution.
All right, might be now a long shot for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds to make the playoffs. Eastern Conference, USL, New York Red Bulls 2 right now in a playoff position, pending the rest of the action this weekend in the United Soccer League. The final for the final time at Montclair State University Soccer Park. New York Red Bulls 2, Pittsburgh Riverhounds, 0. For Chris Dyer, this is Bob Gallerstein. Have a terrific afternoon.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.